Hey, hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation Podcast. My name is Eddie V. Hill, and I am your host. This is episode number 87, and joining me today is Michelle Morte.
Hello.
Yes,
Oh my
hello.
gosh.
Yes, thanks.
So exciting.
yeah, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
This is a new space I'm trying out. We're still working on. If you're watching the video form of this, you're looking at this is like thrown up fabric currently, and I'm hoping to tighten this up. But for now,
I mean, I'm a fan. It definitely feels way cozier here than it does like outside currently in the storm.
Yes. Oh, rainy LA days. Yes. Okay. You are a producer.
Yes. Oh gosh, where should I start?
I guess, because the things that I usually like to weigh is whether or not we start where we are now and like kind of maybe goals on who we are currently, or we can always go back to the beginning as well. It's usually, I don't know what instinct you had to. Do you want to maybe some early foundational stuff on?
Sure.
Let's just go there.
Okay. I guess I'll just start from like the way beginning after birth.
Okay, sounds good.
I studied film basically going into college. I got lucky and had some mentors that basically kind of like saw potential in me and took me under their wing. I think like a year before I had officially graduated from college, which was always nice. I remember my mom my parents basically were just like, oh, don't go into film. You're not going to make any money. You know, typical parents, always looking out for their youngins.
Yes. What background do your parents have? And they're
Filipino.
not. Well, I was thinking more profession.
Oh my God. So my mom is a contract specialist, and my dad is like a systems architect for a hospital.
Yeah. So they don't have the arts backgrounds. That's what I was just trying to confirm.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They are definitely 100% very left brain. Yeah. And it's funny because like I was so against like taking accounting or taking nursing, and then finally like they saw that, oh, she can actually make money doing this. We don't really have to worry about her. So here I am.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So how long did it take for you to prove that to the parents? Like, or was the goal producing from the beginning, or how?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the way that I had proven to them that I could like make a living out of this was just I ended up fully juggling working as a PA on set and going to school at the same time. And that was like, it was just multiple features back to back. Yeah.
While you're in school.
Yeah, my professors hated me.
Okay, because you were working. Because I know a lot of film school, like I don't know how to, I guess I think of most film school kids are like, they think they can't work while they're in school, so they.
That's a lie.
Well, it's because, I'm paying all this money to be in school. I should be in class, but then you're like, well, the objective of being in school is to work, and if you're getting.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you,
I think it helped because like most of my film classes were all night classes. So it was easy to kind of like, I was able to juggle basically my entire morning and afternoon to be on set. And then if I had to leave, then I would go to my line producer and be like, hey, I have classes that I kind of can't like super miss. Or like I have an exam or I have a paper. But yeah, it was all because I was like, I wasn't necessarily a set PA. I was an office PA. So I think that also helped.
Okay, great. Now, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Is we're throwing around a lot of industry.
Jargon.
Yeah, a lot of jargon already. I just want to clarify some things before we move forward too much.
Yeah.
Let's just say when people ask you what you do for your job, how do you normally explain it to like non-industry people? like maybe in the family or friends of family, or like, hey, I'm a producer, and like, okay, what is that?
Yeah.
That sort of, yeah. How do you describe it?
I guess the best way that I can describe it is I am the person that I I make sure that the budget doesn't go awry during shoots. And I make sure no one dies, basically. That's my number one priority, is always everyone's safety and then money. Yes.
Safety first.
And then money.
And then working within the budget. So you're talking, I guess, to clarify, you're talking specifically line producing. Like the credit, the money, or I guess, is it line producer, or that falls under sole producer sometimes too? I guess it depends on the project.
Yeah, it usually depends on like the amount of like responsibilities that I have to undertake. If I have to start like, I feel like if I have to start putting in more creative input into the project, then that's when I start asking, hey, I don't think I'm a line producer anymore. I'm more of like an actual producer on this project.
Okay. All right. I think we can dive more into that maybe. I'm thinking about when those conversations come up. Maybe all right, my brain is there. Let's just go there.
Okay.
I'm thinking about like when you're working with a budget for a project. I'm thinking specifically more narrative space. I don't know if those happen in the non-narrative too. I'm sure it happens too.
Yeah. Same with like the commercial world as well.
Yeah, because I know, I'm trying to think about, our first interaction was on a indie style horror type feature, because I came in to script supervise on the final. It was like an additional 3 days that popped up on the shoot or something, and the script supervisor couldn't do it, so I came on to help finish the show.
Oh my gosh, you were such a godsend. The fact that you were working digitally, oh my God, that made me so happy.
Yeah, we can talk about script supervisors a little bit too. That's another thing. But, okay, yes, I appreciate. Yeah, I remember showing up and you're like, wait, I don't have to print all these sheets for you and papers for you and scripts for you. I'm like, no, I have this, and I was a little bit less maintenance for the production department to handle. So I was happy to take some weight off. That was nice. So I'm thinking about when I don't know what point those conversations happen. Is it like pre-production that we're talking about, where it's like, hey, we got to make this budget and we need solutions, and the more solutions you start putting out,
basically like so like for example, say I'm given a $1.5 million budget and I have to make it work within a script that's like massively ambitious. They have a lot of like explosions, they have gun work, they have like car work, like basically everything under the sun, but I have to make it all work within 1.5. That's when I start telling them that like, hey, you need to start cutting some elements from your script because we cannot make this work with the current budget that we have. Like, you need to cut at least like, you need to cut either a gunfight, you need to cut like an explosion. You just need to cut something.
Yeah, like currently we have 20 stunts listed, and and that's going to take up 2 weeks of work. I don't know. It's like we gotta chop a week off of this. We have too much.
Right. Yeah. So it's like that kind of input is when I'm usually like, all right, I think we need to be able to make this work feasibly and creatively so that we're still able to kind of execute your vision without fully like oh my God, I can't think of the word.
Execute the vision without compromising the vision.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So question there, just for funsies, and because
I love funsies,
is when you are like, what are common budgeting mishaps in film? That's kind of like what are, because I'm thinking about, because you write and you've directed, so you're familiar with what it takes like how much the script influences budget,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the whole. So where, what are common things that end up costing people a lot of money that they don't expect to come, that kind of trips up production after production, where I feel like you have to keep giving out the same solutions all the time. It's like, guys, we've been through this. This costs lots of money. Why don't you get this costs lots of money?
Yeah. I feel like it's just the script is always like I don't want to say the script is the issue, because the script is always like, that's where the job starts. But it's just the fact that the script and the budget just would not align in a cohesive way. And so like, next thing you know, you're coming up on like Fraturdays, which is a Friday Saturday combination where you start Friday night and then end Saturday morning. Or like you'll have meal penalty violations where people are starting to work French hours, which suck. And French hours are it's 10 hours straight. There's no break in between. I hated doing that.
Yeah, you can't trust that. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's just, I feel like a lot of people end up kind of just they put people's safety on the back burner is basically where I see a lot of the issue coming from. Like they would rather execute their vision rather than care about like giving people a 12-hour turnaround, giving people breaks, and
feeding people and letting them sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess maybe take a little bit of a step back.
Okay.
There's the script, and like you said, there's a budget, and there's some sort of misalignment on executing the script on this budget.
Yeah.
But this, like you said, the script is the thing that got the budget.
Yeah.
But the budget isn't enough to execute the script. Who's deciding the budget? Like how in different circumstances, I guess, like is there something there that has some solutions built in where maybe we can put ourselves in a better position? Or is it, because the solution is always like just get more money.
Yeah.
How are budgets decided?
I feel that's such a great question. Usually it's always I'm always reached out to do like a first pass on a budget and a strip board, to kind of just make sure that like, oh, this is super preliminary, this is like still in development.
Yeah, you've done that for me. On a short.
Yeah. So it's just, that's where you'll get your expectation of how much the movie is going to cost, how long it's going to take to shoot it. And where you get your discrepancy is always the fundraising or like having a financer. Like you're not able to get the amount of money that you want. So then now you have to just make do with what you currently have in the bank. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because normally, you have the financier on the other end, where it's I'm the creative and I want to make this, and I come to you and you say this is going to be 1.5, and then I go to my financier and I'm like, I need 1.5. Then like, well, we have 1.2 that we're ready to put in, and you're like, well, I guess if I want to do it, I should just take that money, but I don't know. Can you just give me the 1.5 and do it right? But
so like,
or can I get 2 just for safety?
Yeah. I feel like usually you should always bid up rather than tell them what the true number is, because it's better to have the safety. Oh God, I don't know.
No, go for it. No, it's great. It's great stuff. It's just a bummer that's a part of the problem. But it's the one side of producing that I have been trying to like fully get into, is like being able to reach out to financiers, because I am able to like, for the most part I'm pretty confident in being able to do everything else, but it's just getting financiers to like actually put in money is the one side of producing that I have yet to like hone in on. That's the
dream.
That's the hard part. That's the tricky part. Yeah, I mean, I feel like once the money's in the bank, making the thing is actually I don't know. It was probably that's the easy part.
Oh yeah.
Getting the money is the hard part.
Yeah.
Okay, you were saying something and I was thinking something and I forgot what it was.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Okay, what were you saying?
Oh gosh. Hold on. I have to let me rewind and think about what I was saying.
We're talking about bidding up and going how we have to ask for more than what I guess. Okay, I remember now. It's called, I'm a big fan, like when I make my little indie stuff, being as transparent as possible for the team, like in that, because I feel like that mentality is used on set too, from like the conversations that everybody has to have with line producers on like, well, I need this for camera, or I need this for art, we need this much time, and then there's always that, like, everybody's playing the game, right? It's like they're asking for more than what they need, and then you have to push back on it. It's like, can we, does transparency help in that at all? And on the production side, I guess, like, I get the money people. There's that game that gets, it's like a different game, but then you're on set, hopefully. I have hopes that transparency works, and honesty is like, this is what I have.
I am a fan of transparency. Like, I feel like you've been on set with me. I will 100% tell you what your day is going to look like and any potential like overtime that we all will be seeing. I know that like I have also gone through that those scenarios where production isn't the most transparent. And it always blew my mind because it would be like production would kind of just, oh God, I'm trying to think of like the phrasing. Like they would be blown away by how the crews all just don't like them by the end of the show. And in the meantime, I'm over here like at my little desk on my computer listening to everyone complaining about each other, and I'm just like, it's because you guys aren't honest. Like, you guys are not fully telling them what they're expecting. That's why they're complaining. That's why, like, everyone's in... Are we allowed to curse on this?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh,
sure.
Okay. That's why, like, basically everyone's in a shitty mood, you know? Like, no one had these expectations and they were not put there, you know? Whereas, like, if you're transparent with people, then they have that expectation going into set. Sure, they're going to complain, but at least like they fully understand the situation rather than it just being sprung on them.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So how, speaking of transparency, I don't know. Because I know I have a cinematographer buddy I was talking with about this recently. He was a part of like some union feature, and talking about like he was gaffing for a DP, and he was watching this DP negotiate with production on like what they needed, and he was kind of like seeing the back and forth on the DP was sending way more than he needed because he wanted to get. But I'm thinking about where the transparency should start. Is my thought.
I feel like it should just start at the beginning. Like, that's what I always ask for, like from lighting, camera, grip, basically those three. Typically, I just tell them, look, give me your wish list and I'll see what I can do with either your preferred vendor or like a different house that I know I have a current relationship with that I can get a pretty solid deal for a run of show. So then I always get the full list, and then if it's out of budget, then I'm just like, just shave something. Like whatever is not necessary because I asked for a full wish list.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Yeah. I'm also trying to think about the reserves that we hold on to, because we know stuff inevitably is going to kind of not like, go wrong on set, or like we'll need, like rain's going to rain us out one day, or, speaking of right now in LA, we have to push because of this, or we try to show up and we paid everybody for the day, but we only shot half the day. You need additional funds in the bank to be able to cover for stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it feels tricky to be like, hey, team, we only have this amount.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you I don't know, I'm thinking like smaller budgets now. I'm giving you 20K for your budget, but I actually have another 100K I'm holding on to for the production, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't dip into that yet. So this is what you get for now.
Yeah.
It's all tricky.
Yeah, I think that's always like the one thing that kind of sucks because am such I'm a fan of the transparency that at the same time I'm just like I can't be fully transparent with you about how much the show currently costs. You know, like if I tell you that we're in a $1 million budget, like we have a $1 million show, I just hope that everyone understands those expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. All right. I'm trying to think of where we were at initially, but I'm trying to get back to the initial train.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm forgetting where it was. So I'm looking at my phone now. Okay. I'm thinking about. Oh, we're talking about where people make issues on set, and you're pointing out stuff with like overtime and meal penalties and not thinking about the crew. But what about like creative fixes, like the fixes you were saying, like I think we talked about that already, like the stunts and the cars and stuff. Just trim those out. Okay. All right. Great. Next, I want to hear, because I've been dying. This has been something that's been eating at me the entire time I've been working in film. And maybe you can shine some light. And it's the separation of the production space. Because sometimes I get reached out for gigs, for instance, from a producer saying, hey, we're looking for a script supervisor. Sometimes it's a production coordinator.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, we're looking for a script soup. Sometimes it's a UPM. Sometimes they're like, hi, I'm the production supervisor. So production supervisor versus production coordinator versus unit production manager versus are there clear lines on what each of those people do, and or can you help me on the separation of that?
Yeah, for sure. So there is definitely like a bit of a set hierarchy as far as like the production department goes. So you have like your office PA. I'm going to just basically list out the department. So you have your office PA, production secretary, assistant production coordinator, production supervisor, UPM, and then your line producer. It's a lot of people. But usually it could be on smaller shows, it could be a one-person production team, or it could be like 3 people. But whenever it's a smaller team, like 3 people, there is no true set like line between each one. Like we all kind of we CC each other on everything. Whatever one knows, the other 2 will always know. Is kind of like that's at least how I've always run my office, and how I kind of like set my expectation for whenever I'm production supervising on something for like a friend of mine or all of that. But I guess like as far as like reaching out to crew, usually it just depends on how well the person knows that the person that they want to reach out to is like whether they're going to be a good fit for the show or not. So sometimes it's the line producer. Other times I get surprised by like an office PA giving me a reco. So it kind of it's like a mind melding type of thing.
You call it reco?
Yeah.
Versus rec? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. All right. That makes sense. And on the smaller scale where there's UPM, I guess what would the room be? It's line producer, UPM, and coordinator, let's just say.
Yeah.
And then you have the bucket of tasks that need to be done. And then it's kind of based on who the people are in that specific moment that determines who's tackling what.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's like, because it's like whoever is comfortable with certain tasks, like say your UPM is more comfortable talking to like agents and reps for your talent. your coordinator is more comfortable dealing with like your vendors, and then your line producer is the one that's like wheeling and dealing with like everyone.
Great. Okay. So the lowest of the tier is coordinator. Sorry, go again.
Yeah, like I don't want to call them low.
Everybody's equal. Supervisor, production supervisor, UPM coordinator are kind of equal footing in the room. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, this one is a supervisor. I wonder if there is a UPM. Like I'm trying to piece the room together in my head.
Oh.
If there's a supervisor, does that mean there's a coordinator somewhere? But I'm just trying to.
Yeah. So usually, like, whenever you see a supervisor, it just means that they're either a union coordinator or a union UPM. It's just one of those, like, kind of throwaway non-union titles that no one really kind of super cares about because they can't really unionize a supervisor since it's a supervisorial role.
Yes. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
That helps. It helps clarify that there's there's no hard set foundational fundamentals. It's kind of like just production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all kind of just basically working towards the same goal, essentially. So we kind of just, no one has any egos, basically, going into the trailer or your office.
Yeah. Great. Next. All right, so we talked a little bit about like you jumping into film school and stuff, but if you want to travel back a little bit further,
sure,
just for the sake, I know, like I said, you have written. I know your most recent Instagram post is also sharing an untitled short film script.
Yeah.
So. Pre-film school, when did film jump on the radar? Like how being that there's no film background in the family, there's no how did you
I think I just enjoyed watching movies all the time as like a way of like decompressing for the day, or like not even movies, it's like movies, TV show, like any kind of media. And so I remember oh man, I'm trying to remember like what I had first edited my school project, and that was when I started thinking, oh, I could like actually get into this. Like this is a more technical aspect of filmmaking.
Yeah, and what, like, are you talking elementary school, middle school,
that
high
was
school?
high school.
Okay.
High school, yeah. So I had started editing like not only my projects but like other people's projects too. So long as like there was like a give and take because we were poor high school kids.
Right.
So I kind of just found that I was like editing more, and then like I remembered that I had first PA'd on a short for another friend of mine in college, and it was just unorganized. And I remember thinking, you know what? If these people can like make something, I feel like I can totally make something too. You know that feeling?
Yeah. I had a sound mixer / director on recently, and he had a similar story where he's been working in sound forever, and him and his wife co-wrote something and went through the whole process of like producing a thing and hired on a director and did that whole stuff, and then watched the product come in, and they're like, this is really bad. We don't like what this director did. We don't like the edit.
Yeah.
Like if these people,
if
I could direct just as bad as this guy, let me have a shot at it.
Right.
Kind of thing. So yeah, organizing is a skill and is very helpful on set. Okay, so you saw that as so that was like your first was kind of, which makes sense, is to the producer role. Okay. So did you start? Okay, go on. I don't want to.
Oh no, 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 no!
So
I don't.
did you start coordinating for people then? It was like, let me help organize your shoot, or you're like, let me organize my own shoots. Was more of the takeaway.
I think it was more it was more me organizing my own stuff. I knew that I had wanted to be a producer, but I think like instead of fully going into like the office route, I was just looking at everyone's scripts that I got sent to me, and I was just like, all right, I'm pretty sure the proper way to do this is to like obviously buy the script from this person. That way I can like own the rights, I can shoot it. And yeah, yeah.
Are we still talking? Because you mentioned college friends at PA. So is this high school Michelle working
College
on?
Michelle.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So
Yeah,
you're already
yeah.
in film school at this point.
I had just transitioned into film school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the bridge that takes us from editing the school project and then thinking I want to get more into it. Did you make anything in high school too? Like were you directing and writing or?
No. So it was more just like I was solely just editing in high school, and then once I got into college, I didn't go straight to film school from like when I first entered. It took me about like 3 years before I could finally be like, look, film is my passion. This is what I'm going to go for. And we're going to just throw caution into the wind and hope for the best.
What did you jump into first? Did we say?
I don't know.
Because like I jumped into the engineering track, and
Me too.
I did specifically mining engineering.
Oh, whoa.
Because I was in Nevada, so it's a big mining state.
Mm-hmm.
But I completed my bachelor's and then transitioned after. I didn't go to film school, so I did my own film school afterwards. But similar thing was like the logistical brain and the like all the Excel sheets and the planning and the feasibility studies and whatnot. But okay, so you pursued an engineering track too?
Yeah, so basically I had oh my gosh. Sorry, I like get flustered.
Okay. Horrible memories.
I had started out as a computer science engineer in the engineering school, and then I went into my first engineering class and immediately went, this is not for me. That everyone kind of like just kept to themselves. Like the course itself wasn't hard, but it was just a matter of like making any kind of interpersonal relationships and connections with other people. And like you could kind of tell you have one side of the classroom that is they're just there to fulfill like their parents' orders or dreams that have been thrusted upon them for a better life. And then you see there are other people on the other side of the aisle that are just like, oh, I enjoy this, but I don't enjoy people, you know? So
yeah.
So it was kind of hard to like it was just hard to make friends with people. But like, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel like your people.
Yeah.
There was no. It's just I feel similarly for sure. I mean, mining engineering people are a specific breed for sure.
Oh man.
It's like unless you're a big fan of almost like the outdoor space in terms of like isolation and like going out hunting or ATVing or like that sort of stuff, like fishing and getting drunk, ATVing, like that sort of activity. I'm like, I'm not. It's not my. It seems like maybe a fun weekend, but
that's not like your daily cup of tea.
Yeah. So there's a little. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Okay. So what were you doing creatively were you doing anything creatively during that time? Like, was this PA gig overlapping with the engineer pursuit or?
No. So the PA gig was like right when I got into the film school was when a friend of mine had reached out to me and he's like, hey, I wrote something. And I know that you're just barely getting into the industry. Do you want to like see what it's like to be on set? So yeah, that was, I feel like student indie shorts is definitely, it's a different beast compared to like a full narrative feature.
Yeah. Yes. For sure.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely sacrificed like hours of sleep because I was like, okay, I am 14 hours in, I'm first in, last out, and the turnaround was absolute horseshit.
And you're talking about the student project.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we learn all the lessons, right? That's the whole...
True. I learned how to be fine with just sleeping in my car and just be like, all right, this is me now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the expectation of the day is 12-hour day. And then, like you said, you're first in and last out.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of one of the perks of being a script supervisor, I must say, too, is I'm last in and first out.
Oh, gosh.
And it's lovely. But yeah, okay. Great. So I guess I'm trying to also see, like, where directing and writing fits into all of it. If I'm just thinking about, like, the dream, the film dream.
Yeah.
I know we've talked before a little bit about it. Because I know, producing versus the writing and directing side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think like I had written something previously to what I had posted on Instagram. I shot and directed it for less than $1,000, and it's one of like one of the only projects that I like fully like immersed myself into doing. And then after I did it, I was just like, all right, I'm good. I don't want to.
How recent was this?
Gosh, not recent. That was.
Because I know on your website you have links to a couple of your shorts there, and those are dating back to like 2015, 2016.
Yeah. So the one that I directed was back in 2015. Mm-hmm. And I think like
Reflections.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I was checking it out just a little bit ago. Okay, so that's the one. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one, I think because it was all night shoots, and I had shot it over the course of a weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I shot it after hours at this diner, and I only shot it for like 8 hours per day. And I think like after I did it, and like after I had seen it come to fruition and saw like the final edit, and like finally had it in my grasp and was able to put it out into like the world, I was like, all right, I think I'm good for the time being. Like I think creatively I'm going to just pause and then focus more on like my career. So that's kind of what I did.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, you had some sort of urge to do something creative at that time. You got that out of your system, and you've been doing the producer track essentially since then.
Yeah.
Full on. Now, is there a part of you that wants to try it again? Is that coming back up, or no, not at all?
It was coming back up. Gosh, I want to say in December. Yeah, December was when it had started coming back up, mainly just because like I was seeing a lot of like adaptations for H.P. Lovecraft. I saw that Junji Ito, Tales of the Macabre, was coming out on Netflix. I didn't work on it, but just plugging it because it's an excellent show. So like I saw that all of these adaptations were coming about, and I knew that there was one adaptation specifically that I had wanted to try out, which was Edgar Allan Poe, Mask of the Red Death specifically, just because when I had first read it, I saw there was so much potential for it to be like just absolutely extravagant. You know, you could shoot it at like you could let me see. I was thinking of shooting it basically like at the Biltmore, the ballroom setting there. And just having like every different color, like you could have Phantom of the Opera type of costumes.
Yeah, that stuff's fun.
Yeah.
I guess to clarify, because I'm not too familiar with the story, what is that story?
We kind of lived through it in 2020.
Oh no. Minus the Phantom of the Opera vibes.
Minus the Phantom of the Opera vibes. So basically, it's just there was a pandemic that happened, and then there was just this one man who held parties every day and kind of just let the world rot and like not really think about what was happening on the outside until Red Death obviously like comes into the party and basically crashes it and kind of just shows the people, hey, you guys should not be acting this extravagantly when there's like suffering out in the world.
Yeah, it's like reality setting in kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So yeah, you wrote that recently.
I wrote it last year. Yeah. Yeah, I wrote it last year, I think, just because I December, January is typically our downtime anyways, since no one wants to shoot over the holidays. So I was like, all right, well, I got nothing better to do.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the Instagram right now.
Oh, man.
You say 6 years and 8 hours later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I basically wrote that all in the span of one day. But I had always wanted the thought, like it had followed me like 6 years later of like wanting to do specifically that story.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So is this something that you'd be that you want to direct as well, or just putting it on the page is kind of good for now kind of thing?
I think personally I would not want to direct it. I would love to have someone else direct it. Just because I don't know, like I would be fine sitting behind monitor and kind of watching everything, but like it's just out in the world.
Yeah, aka like producing it.
Yeah.
/ being the writer on set maybe too.
Yeah. So it's like I could, if we need to like cut something, then like it's easy for me to be like, oh yeah, if it's not really like hurting the integrity of the story, then like it's fine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, let somebody else deal with all the minutia of
actors.
Yeah. Cast specifically?
Yeah.
Is that the part that scares you?
I think so.
Okay.
It's just mainly yeah. I'm used to delegating to other people, but like I feel like with talent, I don't know. There's something more daunting about dealing with talent than dealing with crew. Yeah.
Have you ever, I mean, I know off camera you're talking about being on camera and like nerves there potentially. Yeah. So have you ever taken like an acting class or done any of that work like in film school or anywhere? Or?
I did like a theater camp one summer, but that was like back when I was like a wee babe. But that was pretty much like my only true like seeing it.
Yeah. It's hard. But it's helpful for directing actors to step in those shoes. But yeah, that's not a goal, so don't worry about having to do it. Okay, so that's the untitled short film. Nice. Let's see. I'm thinking about. Let's go. All right. Branded content.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's dive right into branded content.
Yeah.
What's up?
What do you do a lot of branded stuff lately?
Yeah, like I've basically kind of I linked up with another production company over the summer, and we've just been putting out a lot of content for Indeed.com, which is, as most people would know, is just a job search board. But it also like gives like tips and tricks on like how to have a successful resume, like how to ace your interview, and kind of just like all of these different like kind of life hack type of things to help make you feel productive and not feel as if you're worn out from work. Basically just plugging Indeed.com at this point.
Yes, Indeed.com if you're looking for a job. Okay, so how does it differ going from, because we've been mostly focused on narrative space stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How does it change producing for Indeed.com or Branded and Branded in general? We don't want to call out their practices specifically, but
oh yeah, no, I 100%. I feel like Branded and like basically, because I feel like Branded and reality kind of go hand in hand with each other. They're on like a smaller-ish scale, but they also kind of just do their own thing most of the time. But Branded content also adheres to like the guidelines of like a commercial shoot as well. You know, like you're not just doing like a run and gun shoot with like a camera and like a shotgun mic on top of it and kind of just hope for the best.
yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, how, being that you're like, so are, like, I'm thinking about like, you're working with a production company.
Mm-hmm.
This production company has Indeed.com as a client.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out from the producer perspective, because you're producing these pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how that process goes. Like, do they come to the table with, these are a list of videos that we want to do, or do they task you with, we need videos, and pitch us ideas on what you think would be good ideas?
It would be more like so basically the client basically just says like, hey, we don't want our channel or our social media to go dark. We want you to create videos, but these are like our guidelines, like for each series that you're going to be basically producing. So we have a writing team that kind of just writes everything. And then we'll just send those scripts over to client and legal so that they can clear it for us to shoot without having to deal with any like clearance stuff. And then client will just say, oh, we love it, like creatively it works. And then I step in typically and I'm just like, we can't do man on the street because we have no time.
Okay.
Yeah, just a lot of rigmarole.
So that's when you step in. You're not a part of the writer room.
No.
Story breaking.
Mm-mm. I give the assignment, and then once it's been greenlit by client, that's when I'll look at the script and I'm just like, all right, client sees this, they like it. We may need to tone down a few elements, so I need you to do a rewrite, and then we'll send it to client again. Because basically the whole point of it is to get client to approve of the initial idea as a whole first before we can get into the smaller details of it all.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm just also wondering about like stuff you pick up along the way too, with like, I'm thinking, I was just going through like the list of videos that come through on the job seeking stuff, like with the resume, like are you is that a space where like you're absorbing them, like you're not like on set for this and stuff?
I do.
Okay.
Like I for the most part they've been shooting out in like Sacramento and LA.
Mm-hmm.
So I have flown to Sacramento more times than I can count.
Okay. Yeah, because I was curious about, I don't know, I was almost going to ask questions about like, so what's up with like the job search industry right now? Because I thought it was interesting that a lot of the videos, it was probably just the ones that I looked at specifically from like last year.
Mm-hmm.
But customer service seemed popular right now.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had any insights on like what's up with that.
Unfortunately, no. So a lot of there's a series called A Day in the Life, and that one is the one where I stepped back to let them kind of just do their thing without having to, because it was a small shoot. Like you only had like a producer shooter,
It was almost docu-style.
Yeah, like it just following the person around, see what like a day in the life is like in their like job. Yeah. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to just be in the way. I just told them all of their stipulations, like with releases and et cetera, et cetera. And so I was just like, all right, gonna.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of videos too, but I guess I was mostly mulling over the I don't know. There's been lots of stories about like what AI does for us and all that, and
Oh
and
gosh.
taking over all of our jobs.
AI is so scary.
Yeah. Yeah, with like the art generators and then now the text generators, and then I'm like, well, I guess customer service. I think we do appreciate having a human on the other side of the line to help us through.
Yeah.
Help us through our stuff. So I was like, I guess that maybe I should freshen up on my customer service abilities for the inevitable day when
Don't say that.
when an AI can manage the 180 line and see if it's going to cut or just cut stuff. That's kind of who knows? We'll see.
Oh gosh. I am not ready to retire just yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Okay. Well, I mean, I was also learning about stuff of like coffee and all that. Like there's a whole video about coffee recently.
What?
And the coffee and like, the video I don't know, this is just me regurgitating something I learned today. I don't drink coffee, but it was just a reminder for people to be like, coffee's not enough. You have to eat food as well. But don't just eat mindlessly at your desk. Don't be a zombie eater. And I'm like, okay, this is like a nice video. This is cool.
Yeah.
But
be mindful about what you're putting inside your body. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really bad habit of like not eating properly on set whenever I'm working, specifically like on features. So usually if someone sees me with just my computer and a Diet Coke, they're kind of like, all right, have you eaten today? Have you had like any kind of sustenance outside of soda and like coffee? Basically caffeine overload.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's a great question.
Have you had water and AKA food? Oh, I haven't. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah. That's me most of the time.
Yeah. That happens.
I've been getting better about drinking more water though. So that's the only thing that I'm proud of.
How'd you conquer that?
After basically it would just be after one caffeinated drink, then I would force myself to now drink like 2 bottles of water, or attempt to drink 2 bottles of water before I can have my next caffeinated drink.
Okay. It's not like you bought one of those big containers that has like.
I did.
Oh, you have one of those too?
Yeah.
Where it's like 10 a.m., noon.
Yeah.
Or it goes the other way around, top to bottom. Yeah.
I originally bought it as a joke gift for my mom because she also has a terrible like time drinking water. She thinks that she's like drowning whenever she drinks water. And I was like, all right, woman, you need to this oh my God.
It's all good. Yeah.
You need to sit down and drink this much water. It's just a gallon. Apparently that's like how much you need to survive as a human per day, I think.
Yeah, the ideal optimal amount,
probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Research shows. Okay.
So I got that for her as a joke gift, and then she stopped using it, so then I started using it, and that's kind of been like my gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Water's important. Great.
Life-giving.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm trying to think here too. This is a nice, easy one, I feel, but I don't have much experience in this realm, which is why I'm asking. I believe I'm asking because you maybe had a post about it, but it's called a tech scout.
Oh man.
So maybe clarification for people, not for me, of course.
Yeah.
But like what a tech scout is. And then I have a follow-up. Like what is the whole point of a tech scout? Like we're looking for this is early pre-booking, yeah? Is that after booking?
So tech scout basically is your last scout of all of your locations before shooting. this is a scout that you need to make sure all of your department heads are there. So you have your gaffer, you have your DP, you have your key grip, you have your location manager who obviously has like all of the relationships with these locations. You have your UPM or your production supervisor, depending. You have your line producer who's also there. And then just
director.
Yeah, director also goes to
art, probably.
Production design, sound also comes in. So basically, those are all of the department heads that will go with you. Typically, we'll all just get into a van and then drive to each location. Once you get to each location, you let your department heads kind of do their thing. Director and DP will just basically go into space, kind of see where like the shots are going to be, and then like they'll have a conversation with lighting, see how they're going to light the space. Lighting will also kind of just check to see what house power is like, to see whether like location will need an additional generator in order to fully power like those big LED lights that you typically see. Art department will come in, also see the space, see where they can stage their furniture and other props, see how they're going to dress it. It usually, like, I feel like going into a tech scout, it always helps everyone going into the shoot, because then now no one is fully blind going into each new location. Everyone kind of has like an understanding of, oh, this is where I'm going to set up. We're not going to be in the way of any other department. This is going to be cohesive into getting our day done.
We didn't mention the AD. Is the AD there?
Yes.
Okay,
oh,
great.
Shoot. Yeah. The AD will definitely be there.
Should be there. They should be there. Okay, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Very helpful stuff.
Yeah.
I guess maybe the question is, where do people trip up on the tech scout? Like, I could imagine a tech scout, like, I don't know how quick, like, the expectation is when you've been on many tech scouts. It's like, all right, guys, we don't have to spend this much time right now. Or is the idea, take as much time as you need and we'll be here as long as we need? Or quick in and out is kind of the hope?
So typically we'll schedule for like an hour per location. It gives everyone like time to fully kind of suss out basically where we're going to live for like 12 hours a day.
All right. So you have an hour, figure it out, and then we'll pull you. And you're probably yanking the director and the DP. It's like, no, we have more to look at. We have It's like, no, we got to go. We got a whole day.
Yeah, basically wrangle them. Because usually like after the tech scout, then we'll have a full pre-production meeting. And that takes about like...
That takes forever.
Gosh, it really does. Yeah.
Yeah. They're useful.
They are useful, but man.
Yeah, unless you're the people that are directly leading it and involved, it's kind of a trudge.
Yeah, that's why I usually, like, whenever I have to be on it, I'm just on my computer. I have the script open on one side, and then I have emails on the other side.
Stay productive.
Yeah.
Great. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you'll hear your name on occasion, and you're like, wait, money, what? All right, sorry, what was that? And then you address that, get back to work. Yeah. Okay. The thing that I think about too is like, I guess the reason I ask about tripping up during a tech scout is I'm all too familiar, let's just say from the script supervisor chair, watching I guess this is more indie specific, but I feel like lesser experienced department heads go into a space and not being familiar of what they're supposed to do. Like directors sometimes are like, all right, it's time to do the blocking, and they don't know what like a blocking rehearsal is. They'll get into like a full rehearsal, talk creative and stuff. It's like, no, we just need to know where everybody's going to be so we can send them to makeup and light the space, and then you can go into the full stuff after, but give us just the generalities of what the movement's going to be.
Yeah.
So we can plan and prep for that.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't know what the expectation is, or like what the actual activity is supposed to, like what the purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that would be a similar space. But I'm sure you get it quick. I mean, you're going to so many locations. I don't know how you would get confused at what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like with the nature of our job, it's just easy to pick up on everything that you need to like checklist out, as far as like, say, on a tech scout, like or just like expectations, as you were saying, on like a blocking rehearsal versus a full rehearsal. So I think it's just trusting people to kind of just pick up on certain things, until this is where like I usually say, hey, to like everyone at the pre-production meeting. I'm always just like, look, I would rather everyone just ask questions. Ask whatever questions you have. If you're unsure about something, come out and reach out to us, because we would rather have you asking questions than you fucking up and us having to redo it all over again. That is said verbatim.
Yes, right, sure. But I'm the director, and I'm very insecure about my abilities. I'm not going to speak up and say I don't know certain things. I want you to think that I do.
Yeah.
But then you can tell that I don't. So how do you approach that?
Usually I'll take like the director aside, and I'll be like, hey, I understand that you want to go through and see everything, but I need to get our talent we need to get talent into the chair. That way we can just get everything ready, and then you can do a full like rehearsal. Like basically I would just take them aside and kind of just explain the full procedure of it all.
Yeah. I mean, directors are a lot like actors.
Like I feel like directors are definitely easier to handle though than actors are. Yeah.
Directors are pretty good at taking notes and
yeah. I haven't really like experienced a massively unresponsive director. Usually whenever they feel as if they need notes, that's when they'll like, oh, I can, like you can gauge someone, and then at the same time you can also be like, oh, hey.
Yeah. That's good. It sounds like you work with good directors. That's nice. That's nice.
I do want to eventually work with you as a director too.
Yeah. I got stuff in the works. It'd be great. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, having a good team is helpful. Having good people is helpful. And then I hope to, I want to direct more too. I need a producer.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So that was a Tech Scout question. But how maybe we could talk a little bit. I have a couple. All right, we're doing good. I don't know if there's anything really here, but maybe there is, and it's just this post-production.
We can try.
Okay. Well, how involved do you normally get in that phase? Because as a line producer, yes.
Yeah, basically, like as a line producer, my job is done once we finish shooting. As far as post-production goes, I just try and make sure that there's still, like I kept my portion of the budget in line. That way post can go in still fully comfortable, like to go to a color house or like what have you, and kind of just bid their show out. So I usually just try and keep money in a good spot for post. But if anything, the most that I really deal with post-production is always just seeing like the different picture locks, and then that's it.
Okay. So your job is just to make sure you wrap production with enough budget so they can finish the movie in post. But you don't really you have the money.
Yeah.
The things are set up. Now go and do the stuff. You don't really have to be a part of. But when you are producer and you've done all the creative input along the way, do you then continue?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like once I'm like a full producer, that's when I feel more comfortable being able to say, hey, I don't think there's something weird going on like here. at 5310 timestamp, for example, like, is there a way to kind of just finesse it so it doesn't feel as awkward, like, watching it? So stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, you'll give notes on edits, and you'll work with the director in some standpoint to smooth it out, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's still like a collaborative effort between like director, producer, and editor.
Yeah. I guess that's the hope, right? That's the
Yeah.
idea. Is like the ideal situation is that you're the audience eyes.
Mhm.
Because when I'm editing my stuff as a director and I'm in the bay doing the stuff, like I get so lost on like not like I get lost in the space where I've worked on it for so long. I don't get the initial reaction on a watch through anymore. Like I'm too deep in. I can't really see it anymore. I know what I'm going for and I can feel out pacing here and there, but I don't know how it's affecting a person who's never seen it before. So I'm assuming, I mean, that's kind of like, hopefully, I mean, you haven't watched it as much as I have, so you would have fresher eyes.
Yeah.
And being like, it doesn't make sense that this is like, oh, I felt like it did, but I've talked myself into it so much already. I'm too, and like that sort of stuff happens. Like, yeah, they'll get that. And then let's put this because I think this will tell them that this is happening, but maybe it doesn't grab. Yeah, that's just a thought. Great.
I feel like editors definitely have way more pressure on their shoulders than my job, because they have to bring out basically like the final product in the end, and then it's just
that's fun.
Oh gosh.
Well, I know it is a lot. Editors, yeah, good stuff.
Hats off to you guys.
Yeah, it's nice. I've never really edited other people's stuff. But yeah. Okay. I think let's close out. I want to jump into. I want to try a non film topic.
Okay.
So I guess to remind me and I don't know if you clarified specifically. So we're currently in Pasadena, California, aka Los Angeles area, California. Yeah. Have you always lived here? I don't recall. Are you LA centric?
Yeah.
Okay.
I basically was born, raised, and like grew up in Torrance, California, which is, about like 15 minutes down south of LAX. For our non-California people, it is still within Los Angeles County, just not considered LA for whatever reason. Because we're too far.
Yes. Let's see. I'm just going to look it up really quick. Is that Torrance? Okay, yeah. That's towards like Long Beach, almost as south. It's just as south as Anaheim, but just on the coast.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you grew up here.
Yeah.
And you've been here forever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That kind of that hurts my question a little bit.
Oh no,
it's
so
fine.
sorry.
It's fine. I guess the question is about friendship. How do you approach the film industry and like the friends that like work friends versus friends, or how do friends play in like we always like to talk about work-life balance.
Yeah.
What's your life balance part? Or is it?
Oh gosh, what's my life balance part?
Well, just how do friends play into how do you approach the friend stuff?
Oh, typically it's always like, it's a weird mixture of them reaching out to me and me reaching out to them. As terrible as it is, like there are some people pre-film that like I sadly lost touch with, just because like, we're all kind of just going on our own ways in our wonderful thing called life. So like if I see something about them on, say, some kind of social media, be it like Instagram or Facebook, and I see that they're local, then I'll be like, hey, if you're in town, do you want to, like, I know it's been a while, but do you want to grab a drink, get coffee, go out to dinner, like lunch, etc., and kind of just like catch up. So that's kind of, it's how I've approached most of my outside of film friendships, and like how a few of like my pre-film people are kind of just like, they do the same thing to me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's usually like out of the blue.
Yeah. Yes, that sounds about right. Okay. I know lately, 'cause like you mentioned the slow season, being the holidays and then coming back in, the January is always a slow start, and now we're in February. We're heading into March. Is it March right now?
It's March now, yeah.
March 1st?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know that I've been trying to think about friends more lately.
Yeah.
And how that plays into that balance and what the balance means, and because normally prior to, it's more about like being all right, let's because I moved to LA. This is gonna be just been over 4 years now, so yeah, it's exciting. So thinking about like, all right, it's been about establishing the film life and the freelance life, and making sure those connections are being made and networking's been made, and most of my interactions have been in that sense. Is like, all right, well, let's meet up and shoot something, or let's meet up and talk shop, or let's meet up and talk about projects we can do together. And like it almost just feels like producer ready, doing a lot of the meetups, and it's like, all right, well, what there's it feels like there's now working more on the like, all right, what is a real friend look like,
how can I like cultivate the non-work side?
Yeah. So I know that's been a thing lately, but I was just all right. So okay. So that's all right. So more of the sporadic catch up here and there, and just keeping up. And,
kind of just like, I also try and make it a point to not really check my phone either whenever I'm out with people, just because I don't like that my phone is just linked to all forms of my communication to do my job. So
you have a Apple Watch too, yeah? That's buzzing the whole time.
I do have an Apple Watch.
Yeah. No, it's not bad.
But yeah, like I try to, if anything, like if I go out to dinner or drinks, like I get uncomfortable like feeling my phone in my back pocket, so I'll sometimes just put it on the table or like the bar and just have it face down. That way no one can see it lighting up or anything.
Yeah. What about the do not disturb function? Is that risky? Like you might miss something?
Yeah. I just like I don't want my fear for do not disturb is like if I get something from family and it's like an emergency and I didn't catch it in time. So that kind of stuff. But like for the most part, like it's all because everything goes straight to my watch anyways, then I just see, oh, I can just ignore this.
You can see the colors and the names. You're like, okay, anyway, back to the hang. What about, I guess just for the sake of asking too, because this is something this is something I'm working on, but it's called the group hang. I know I'm putting together with my girlfriend a little game night for this week and stuff. Like we're doing that. But it's not something I was normally doing pre-LA. Like that's pre-LA Eddie. I haven't really focused too much on getting a group of people together because Los Angeles. My excuse has been that it's hard to get people together, like coordinating schedules, especially if you have film friends and non-film friends, or if you want to mix and mingle the groups. Locking down a date in this town for like, oh, you're coming from Torrance and you're coming from Santa Clarita and you're coming from Pasadena, and it's just like it's hard to wrangle stuff. But
it's funny that you say that because usually like out of usually like within like my friend group too, I'm the person that will put everything together. I will just
Well, you're the coordinator.
like I'll send out like a Google form and be like, everyone pick a date. Just pick a date that works best within your schedule out of the 5 dates that I have presented to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then whichever one obviously like gets the highest vote, then I'm like, all right, we're going to do this at this date and this time. Here are like a few suggestions, like if we're going to go out drinking, like I suggest obviously taking a Lyft or an Uber. Obviously hydration is key.
Sure. It's like a whole, do you do the whole call sheet thing too, almost?
Yeah,
It's like
on like a group chat.
yeah, here's the time, here's the place, here's a picture of parking, park here, location here.
Kind of still say, be mindful of signage because production is not going to pay for any tickets, tows, fees that you may incur while having fun.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so that, how do you, I guess maybe this is for me too, but how do you, like, when you do plan a group event like that, how do you balance finding a date and also knowing, like, how do you balance the date with work? Like, like not knowing you might pick something up that might or you're consistent enough where you know.
I think it's the latter, where it's just thankfully I've been able to kind of dictate my schedule where I refuse to work on the weekend because
That's great.
Because
unless you're on a show that's shooting or
yeah. But for the most part, I usually will just put everyone on a group chat and kind of just say, all right, it's time, y'all. And
it works.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Yeah. The boundaries of work. That's nice too. Weekends are off.
Yeah. I try and kind of just keep I try really hard to really make that clear separation of work and life, just because I have done it. God, I don't want to say that I've done this long enough because I still feel like I'm a wee babe in this industry. But like I've done it long enough where I've seen what my life would be like if I solely focused on work, where you're just kind of not giving yourself space to rest, or not even to rest, to just kind of enjoy your own time, like your own mentality, without feeling as if you're like being bogged down by worrying for the following day. You know?
Yeah, because work, like you said, if left unchecked, can consume everything.
Yeah. So that's why I think the pandemic also helped make me make that clear line of like, my room is my sacred space. I would prefer not to be working here, but like if I need to take a call, I'll do it. But for the most part, I'll just work out of my dining room. That way it's just, there's a physical line of what is work versus life.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Okay, well, I don't know. I'll wind us out with talking about this year. What are the goals this year? What do you, narrative versus with a production company? So I'm assuming that's a thing, but anything outside of that you're looking to do, or?
I want to get back into features again, to be honest. Like, I feel like I had previously, last year, I decided to work over at AFI because I felt that I was getting too burnt out prior to January of 2022 by just working constantly. So I took a job there, worked there for 6 months, and then immediately went, I am ready to go back.
Yeah, what kind of job?
It was it was still as a production coordinator, but like as a staff production coordinator, so it kind of wasn't really the same. The workflow just wasn't the same. It was more bureaucratic, and I am not a huge fan of bureaucratic.
Well, yeah, you're a part of a school system now.
Yeah, it was.
It's not film anymore.
No, I had to definitely check my language a lot. I've been hanging out with way too many Teamsters. So, like, my mouth is basically like a sailor's, which I'm kind of surprised it's not coming out as often.
I don't know. I
here.
think it's yeah. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so you left AFI.
And then I went straight into a digital series. And then after that digital series, I went into this whole branded content contract. And then I've kind of just been doing, I've just been doing that for a while. So I wanted to, like, dip my toes back into doing features again, which I may have one potentially out in Kentucky later this year.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
What's your, I guess, I don't know, for the sake of it, what's your feature approach? Like, how do you, did you whack your teeth?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's okay.
How do you approach that? Like, do you, I know I've some producers have like a slate of films that they're actively pushing. Or is it like you get reached out to when things are closer for the line producing stuff? Okay, more of that than the
rather than pushing
the all-encompassing producer.
Yeah. Which is, I guess, like the overall goal though for the most part, which like for this year is mainly I want to get more writers and like read more scripts. That way I can push it out into the world to get it made. So that's at least my goal this year. Yeah.
Talk to more writers, to read more stuff, to have more stuff to push. Great. I have some stuff.
I mean, please.
I didn't need a cough into the mic there. That was a little. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Okay. So, narrative sounds nice to you right now. Great. Cool. I don't know what I'm up to. I don't know. We'll see. This is the year of the film festival circuit.
Oh.
Which I've never done before.
Oh my gosh, but that's also very exciting.
We'll see. It's exciting when you start getting accepted into places. Until then, it's just
daunting.
It's just like, is anybody going to take this at all? Kind of feeling, you know, they're just those, you know, those.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But that's the waiting game for me currently, and then we'll see. Script soup work.
Oh my god,
we'll see.
Still exciting.
Yeah, always. But cool. That's essentially what I got here. I think that's I appreciate you coming on and sharing insights, and
Sorry, it was all like logistical talk.
No, it's great. hopefully they enjoyed it at home, hearing about all the stuff.
And maybe learning something about line producing, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Great. Okay. Well, I think that's the show. Find the show. Leave a like, leave a comment, do all the stuff, share around. But otherwise, again, great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that's the show. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.